Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. I thought today, considering that the sun was actually out for once, that it would be a good day for a nice stroll in the park. And I came down to the park and I was like, oh, well, look at that, there's actually no one here. It seems quite peaceful for once. Reason for that, aside from the fact that school just went out, but other than that, it seems like it's closed. So, wait a minute, no, there's people inside. Just the outside gates that seem to be closed for some reason. I guess the other entrances are perfectly fine. I don't know, maybe I'll loop around or something so I don't get in trouble. Regardless, Riverside chats would be nice. That's what I called some of the other Walking Wednesdays, including the one about the underlying racism, in quotes, from the Mania show, which just got served to me on my For You feature on the channel. So it's like, oh yeah, wow, what if I missed anyone commenting on this one? It's like, no, I didn't. Because there are 10 comments, but I replied to all of them, as in I replied to the ones that weren't a thread or something, you know. So, you've probably seen the title. It's got something to do with, like, blow torches or something like that. And yes, that was what was supposed to happen. Although through a series of mix-ups and scheduling conflicts, that hasn't really come to pass. So, yeah, in the continued saga of each of the 5 different groups in that we split the welding students into, the 4th one was supposed to teach me how to use the cutting blowtorch this week, and yeah, through a mix-up of mine from scheduling, from timetable basically, I actually was late to class on Monday. I will fully admit that was my fault entirely. I talked to the teacher about it already. However, even if I had showed up correctly, as in punctually, I actually wouldn't have been able to do anything anyway, because, as it turns out, the blowtorch requires 2 separate types of gas, and the first, well, actually, it doesn't matter what the types of gas actually are. I think one of them is just oxygen. I think the other one is, I don't know, some sort of thing they keep on saying the technical term for, but they haven't. I don't know. I forgot what it was. Not that they said it to me in English either way, so I would be telling you a Spanish word if I actually remembered what the Spanish word even was to begin with. So, yeah. What else? Yeah, so that was that, and the problem was that both of the canisters they had, you know, the containers, were empty. Oh, there we go. Look at this. There's the entrance. Yeah, so they were empty. So they were trying to show me how to open up the gas and everything, and then afterwards, when that didn't give results on the dial, didn't change whatsoever. In fact, there's actually 2 of them right there. Now I think about it. They're right next. They were the ones in the park I saw earlier. Wait a second. Is that more of them? I think it might be more of them. I'm not sure. One just put his hood on, so I'm guessing that. I'm walking straight towards them, actually. Yeah, so... Not the geese, they sound like that in class, but they're not, they're quiet elsewhere. They just see me, then they start yelling. So yeah, basically, the dials weren't actually moving at all, so it turned out that the canister was empty. So yeah, it is them. They weren't able to do much that day, so we actually changed it. We thought, okay, well fine, we'll get one of the other containers that's there, right next to us on the shelf. Not the shelf, it's just a line of them, really. So once they sorted that out and had hooked up one of them, another one said, you do know that one's empty, right, don't you? Yeah, as it turns out, they had swapped an empty canister for an empty canister. And the way that they've actually marked which ones were empty and which ones weren't was actually by just writing the word empty, or well, the word vacía, but you know, the word empty on the side of them in chalk, so that people would know. And I assume that at some point they get disposed of outside of class times, or they get switched out. I do know that after they told the teacher that everything was empty, that he then made a phone call and was going to order some stuff for today, actually. He wasn't happy that they hadn't checked before, because they knew that they were going to have me on that day. Even if I messed that up, there's still, as far as he was concerned, that was still their responsibility to verify that everything was ready. Not that I think they could have done much in terms of solving that, because I guess what were they going to do? Say, oh yeah, we found this early that was empty. We still can't get them before Wednesday, so I don't know. So yeah, that's what happened. On Monday, that is. So today, they did actually have some canisters that were full. And so we were in the middle of setting those up. I think one of them still was empty, it had to be changed out, but they had the replacements now, so you know, it was all fine. Oh no, it was the other way around. One of them still said empty with chalk on it, but it had been filled. So I guess they're able to fill it up somewhere. I know that somewhere in the workshop there is like a station where there's like a massive gas container or something. I'm not sure if that's what they need to use or if it isn't. Because I think that's oxygen in there. I hope it's oxygen. Oof. Either way, I don't know that part of the process, and I'm not supposed to know, because they're not teaching me about maintenance. Essentially, they're being evaluated on my results. So whatever I manage to do as per their instructions is a reflection on how well they explain themselves to me in English. I know that there are some people who have expressed a lot of concern. I think that I'm being left all willy-nilly all the time, and I will verify again that I've been left alone a single time, which is when the whole magnet fire started, and that was it. That was because they all got called over. Other than that, they're always, at least one of them is always around. They tend to go back and forth because they've got other projects they're doing, but there's always one of them around. Which is like the case today. I mean, while the two wasn't actually here today, so he would have missed out if there weren't theory to go through that the teacher had to actually run by them. So part of the class was getting new replacement machines in, actually, like nice clean ones for stuff like semi-automatic and the other disciplines, and I guess bringing those in, because there was just a delivery guy. There was a person who delivered things, and then also and then they think he also is an inspector, from what I've heard. One of the only ones that apparently the foremost expert in Galicia on welding machines, and possibly in Spain, according to the teacher. Which, of course, the guy shut down, but he was like, no, give yourself credit. It's that type of friendship. So yeah, there's that, but so he stayed around because I think they started to talk about a few bits and pieces. In fact, while they were talking was the only time that anyone did actually any welding. So we were setting up. We were about to use the blowtorch, or I guess properly turn it on. They were teaching me about the last two dials on the torch itself to actually let the gas flow through, And then, just before that happened, we got called over again, and the theory continued. So there's a lot of stuff they need to go through, and according to the teacher, they should have known before that point. So, yeah, he wasn't very happy that only one person managed to respond to any questions that he asked correctly. So, yeah. So that was necessary, but it ultimately meant that I was just sitting down for that time. Eventually the teacher apologized to me and said, you know, I'm sorry you haven't got a chance to use the blowtorch after all. You know, if you want, if it comes down to it, I will teach you myself. It's like, well, you know, thanks. I'm not, you know, I don't consider it, you know, an overwhelming necessity of my life, you know, to learn how to use a welding blowtorch. It would be interesting, don't get me wrong, but something that I will manage without quite nicely as well. So that was today. So ultimately, I don't really have much else to update you on. I guess the last day of semi-automatic, but that was more of like rush through the different poses, basically. Not like poses, I mean like different positions, like welding positions. So, you know, like top down, either flat or two plates together versus just like one chord or stuff like that. Honestly, I don't remember all of them. Well, vertical ascending, vertical descending, because there are just so many that they were just kind of like ran through them in quick succession. Okay, here's how you do this one, do that one. Okay, you know, good enough. Let's do this one, do that one. Okay, good enough, carry on. That was basically the last bit. And no hammer test this time. But I guess I've already cemented myself as a welder in the mind of the teacher, because he declared me as such after the TIG test that came about last week. So, I mean the week before, rather. Last Walking Wednesday cycle, let's say. So I guess all's well that ends well. If that's one way of phrasing it, I suppose. So, yeah. As for major events, as far as the YouTube side goes, well, my promise of, or I guess my promise to adhere to Aiden's plan of one AFMAO parody per month for 2025 is something that I have managed to adhere to if you live in the US, or, you know, because I'm pretty sure if you live anywhere that's not like GMT -3 or something, then it was 1st of February when that came out. I did try. The reason I didn't manage to get it done sooner was because, well, first of all, one of them, the subtitles were out of sync, so that was distracting. And another one, basically, they well, not they. And the other one was, you know, after that. But I had a submission the previous day. The English Language Assistant program that I'm on, the ELA program, needs to be reapplied. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually do it next year or not. But in order to have a chance at all to think about it, I need to send in an application again, you know, say, you know, consecutive year, and go through a different list of things. I get a new reference too from someone who actually could evaluate me from the program this time, rather than evaluate my at the time last year virtually non-existent teaching experience. So that was a bit of a mad dash. exacerbated also by the fact that the coordinator, teacher 4, also thought it would be a good idea, rightfully so, but thought it would be a good idea to have the principal also sign on the reference letter they needed. Like, they needed it to be like an official scanned thing from on school paper and stamped by them, and you know, whatever. So we did that. So that got scanned and all that. But yeah, yeah, it was a case of, okay, well, I need to get this done. In fact, that same day, the principal was busy setting up, because he's also a music guy, so he was setting up the equipment and sound and everything for the World Peace performance. Which, you know, I mentioned this before about how I was asked a few times to I was pulled out of classes actually to rehearse as well for this, the Imagine duet, and yeah, that did happen. So I was also involved with that, and it just so happened it was like an hour before what I thought was the deadline. As it turns out, you know, time zones are one heck of a thing. You know, when it says due 1 p.m. British time, it actually means, you know, due 2 p.m. Spanish time. So I was actually in a slightly more of a panic to get that reference in than I needed to be. But I got it in before 1 p.m. Spanish time anyway. Because it was early in the day that we did that performance, and you know, everyone was like rounded up. That we could see like below them basically. It was almost like a proper concert, but without as many people. I mean, aside from the fact that I think the FP, the former technician students, like they're the ones that are doing like the professional training, like the welding kids, the carpentry ones. I don't know what else they have because I don't have class with them. They weren't there. But even then, you know, the director was somewhat put off by the fact that the concert in question would be in front of would be in front of the entire school. Kind of saying that, you know, it's not a good crowd if there's like so many people. You know, want people to be more of an intimate setting. It's like, okay, I get that to some degree. However, he's also trying to organise two of us for at least for them, not necessarily me, but like for the choir itself, to compete in some inter-school competitions, which I can only assume will have a larger audience than the like very few dozen well, I see not a few dozen, but like several dozen people that were there that formed the student body, it seems. I mean, the math isn't mathing on that one, because honestly there should be more when I think about it. So maybe they weren't actually all there. It looks very empty by comparison. I don't know. I'm bad at giving like rough audience estimates. But basically, you know what? Let's do this. I just realized, wait a minute, I can switch the perspective. Oh, that's my finger. My bad. Okay, so basically, this like tract of land here, imagine that full of people. Basically that. But yeah, so we hadn't really made a proper like order of events either. So we were like, okay, when are we going to perform this? Because there were also some people who were going to be reading some poems. To which I thought, oh man, you got to write poems? Because I instantly go to that, of course. You got to write poems about like world peace and get to present them. It's like, oh man, that would be more interesting. But no, as it turns out, they're reading like things in different languages. So the same ones as usual, I think. You know, French, Italian, Portuguese, English, Gallego, and of course Spanish or Castellano. So yeah. So all of that was basically the same. And but yeah, like they yeah, they weren't original ones. They because I keep forgetting about that. So yeah, and they're also quite short as well. So it's like one person came up, they got clapped. The second one clapped. Second, third one, blah blah blah. That was kind of it. And we rightfully thought that, okay, like, we're not to toot our own horns, but like any musical event, for the average crowd, will entice them more than a poetry reading, 50% of which they can't understand. So that's why we decided, okay, we'll save ourselves for last, and then and we'll perform then. So we did, and I kind of underestimated how many students or just anyone in the school faculty or student body hadn't heard me sing yet, because I'm so used to attending all the choir rehearsals. Speaking of which, I have to go back to one now because I didn't have enough much time for a lunch break. Yes, I'm so used to singing in the choir, like in all the rehearsals, that everyone just kind of knows that. And also, there was the whole Phineas and Ferb thing from a few months ago. So yeah, that too. And honestly, I hadn't really considered that, but yeah, like after that event, people started to be like, oh wow, you sing so well, or you do well. Of course, they would say stuff like, you sing good, or you cantar bien, or something like that, that kind of thing. It was like Spanglish. They complimented me in Spanglish. I assume they did the same for their classmate, who also was the other person, but I wasn't there for that, so I can't verify. But yeah, it's interesting because then also after that, like this week, where I had a whole different thing prepared, I actually people were like, "Oh, were you going to sing?" As in, they thought that was going to be what I was about to do in front of them, or I guess kind of willing that into being, I suppose you could say. But yeah, I don't know. So I said, of course, at the end of class, maybe I would play a song of mine for them, because they also like my channel. I established that already. But actually, here's what happened was unexpected. So after essentially my fusion of Pokemon and Top Trumps, the game, which I used for comparison superlatives in class to teach them that, I actually played. Well, if there was time at the end of class, because some of the times there wasn't. But if there was, then I would. Then I played a video for them, and I was scrolling through, and of course, because of how the page works, the first song that they saw was the Vlad song, which doesn't have me as the singer. So I established, this is not what you're looking for. It's not me as a singer, but I did write the song. And they're like, yeah, no, okay, fine, just play it. I think because they didn't know that I wrote songs about Minecraft, and they were interested in that. And they didn't realize that I had more that featured me. And I was like, okay, fine, I don't need to correct them. It's a new video. I would like to see people enjoy that. And so I played that, and there was one class that the bell rang for at the end of the day, and they were all kind of like tilting out like this, basically, like their bodies were moving forwards, but their heads were still like facing back, but they wanted to see the end of it, that kind of thing, or hear the end of it as well. Clearly, song, but and then also the. The class before them, I think, were the ones that at the end of it, they all like start like going like, yeah, yeah, like that, like really cheering properly for it. Because they were all standing up by this point, they were ready to leave, so, and I guess like the game in general had them like riled them up. Because that does happen, of course. You know, you create an exciting activity for them, and of course, what's going to happen? They get excited for it. Duh. So yeah. That happened, and the energy was still high. But yeah, then I said that to Aiden and said, oh, hey, you know, they really enjoyed this, and they were cheering everything. And he just goes, oh, cool. Well, you know, you've enjoyed that attention boost, haven't you? Clearly making the most of that one. Nah, I'm teasing, of course. To each their own. Yeah, I mean, it makes a nice difference that was from, you know, whenever I mention like other songs, like the Caitlyn song or the Ruby song from last month, actually. You know, like both Maya and Prism seem to really shy away from that one. But of course, the biggest example, how can it not be, is the Kawaii-chan song sung by KW, because of course that one is now my second most popular song ever. And also I think it's somewhere between like the 12th and the 10th most viewed video on the channel. So, you know, naturally KW is, you know, very bashful when it comes to that song in particular. I know, bashful KW, who would have guessed? Never happens ever. But yeah, regardless, yeah, it's just one of those things. Freestyle ultra. Oh, freestyle as in like motorbikes, not freestyle rapping. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The class I had just now was a different story. I played the Demon Warlock song for them because I think that's my best example of. That's my favorite song that I've done still. And I played the remake for them, and but yeah, they kind of like gravitated towards the gacha thumbnail that I think Emily did for the 7 years video. Because that was next in the playlist, you see, so that's why that came up. So because of that, they have that class have now heard me rapping, so it's all over in that case. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I've been saying for quite some time to the choir director that not necessarily for me as an individual, but the more examples the class can hear of singing in general, I think, the better off, you know, they will be, because or not the better they'll be. I mean, like the better chances they will be interested in that avenue. So, because I've been saying, oh, we should perform as a choir to the whole school, but of course he's still apprehensive about like the huge crowd as well. Even though, again, I established it's not that huge. You saw earlier, but yeah. I wonder how they're going to feel about that after the competition, because I'm sure there's going to be a larger audience than the old folks' home that we performed in last time, which barely had anyone. And that can go both ways, because I know that I'm a person who feeds off a crowd. Like while we were doing sound tests, I was, you know, making funny noises to entertain them all, making eye contact, you know, doing all that fun stuff. Meanwhile, the girl I was duetting with was just going, "Give it a Winther," you know, as in like, you know, what? How embarrassing! Like not me, but for herself. So I know that I have a unique perspective in terms of, like, crowd energy. I feel like it's a feedback loop. You get more from them, you give more back, they can then return more, they give more back, blah blah blah. Most people aren't like that, so I can understand why there's an apprehension when it comes to that kind of performance for big crowds. However, it would still be beneficial, I think, because if just hearing me in general, sing, makes it so that they are excited to even hear songs. I'm not sure if that would translate into them participating, because I've had that issue before with Siren Story, where people wanted to see the show get made but didn't want to take part in it because they'd already made pacts with other people, which was not helpful for the pitching phase, but whatever. But yeah, I think that, yeah, especially like hearing like their friends, maybe the ones that they've expressed similar nervousness to them. They'll know that they're in the choir, but the more the merrier, literally. Like some of them as well, they started to sing like Imagine to me as a joke. All of them were the guys. We need more guys particularly. So all of that stuff is really helpful. I'm not really sure. I also came up with a good English song this week that we could have done, but I forgot what it was. So I was unable to pitch it. And of course, we've been mostly rehearsing the Galician songs for the competition, because there's a prize for sole Galician performances, but we've still been swapping in some of the ones that we did in other languages since then. So it's a whole thing, really. And I guess it's a whole thing that I'm returning back to right now, because I don't think I have enough time to make my way back from here and get food. So I will do that after the rehearsal. Good thing I have throat lozenges, because I've just been talking for a long time in the heat, and I wish to not do that so much anymore. So I think that's oh, okay, another thing as well for this week. If it just on the actual YouTube side of things, apart from the Vlad song, what everyone already knows, apart from, well, I guess this is like for the other people, the ones on YouTube will know this part, as you know, blah blah blah. Camp Creek was a review that was quite significant this week, mainly because it's another one where the co-creator requested it out of the blue on Discord, having found me in the Keisuru server probably after seeing the review of Keisuru itself, and then I assume also promoted that video to the other like animators and other stuff, and some of the VAs as well. So yeah, big connection there. So yeah, that was that and I love when that happens, because that happened with Keisuru itself too. I think my favorite Guts reviews are the ones where the creators are either watching alongside, in the call, or people involved are giving off the commentary. I mean, I think KW agrees with that as well, because with Fallen Angels, I was apprehensive to join her live stream of Fallen Angels when that was first being discussed, when she was doing that, because whenever I'm on a Fallen Angels call, I just talk about behind the scenes. But KW said she loves behind the scenes. I was like, okay, well, sure, I'll come in and do that. And there is like an upper threshold, I think. I recently watched the whole series of Alishek's Life and Takahata 101, going over Hellsing Ultimate Abridged, and Takahata 101, of course, is one of the head creators of Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. So of course he was talking about everything. So yeah, I mean, it's his show, so of course. I'd heard a lot of that before from other commentaries, from like what Team 4 Star themselves had done. I think even Taka was there for that one. They had a whole 4-hour thing, but I had forgotten most of it. And he basically shouted out like every single cameo that he could remember, and what they either had done beforehand, or what they would then later go on to do. That he could legally talk about, naturally. But yeah, that was fun. But ultimately, of course, if you don't want to hear about, if you want to hear more about like the actual inner workings, then probably not every single cameo is going to be relevant to you, but it still was present, and that was something that people enjoyed more than I did. So yeah, that was fun. But I said that before. I'm going around in circles basically, because I'm trying to think of it's like, do I head back? Do I extend? I think someone just yelled my name again. Oh, there are too many cars around. Am I going to be late? Blah blah blah. I will wrap this up fairly quickly now. So, oh wow, that was a huge echo. Oh, okay, now they've turned around, I guess. There's a group of students who were going down one direction. They all decide to spontaneously turn back around again. Always confusing when that happens. But yeah, like I said, I like when that kind of thing happens, and I hope that it continues to happen more. I hope that in some way, whether or not it's me offering that on someone else's channel or someone else offering that on my channel, it's like, okay, that's like a new perspective that's really fun to do, and people want, and like even though the amateurs and stuff, they engage with that too. With big projects, it's even better because there's more unique perspectives. When it's one person, kind of at the helm of everything, you do get that, but not to the same degree. Unless the other person talks about those people who are also involved. If there's one person involved, it's like, okay, well, there's only so far that can possibly go. But yeah, I like that, and if anyone in the Kesuru server has their own show that wants me to take a look, let me know, because it's clearly working out for everyone, and I'm happy that's the case. Because I know that some people on the Kesuru server weren't exactly happy that the video had been reviewed at all, let alone the comments that had been made about it. So, but yeah, with Camp Creek, can't really say for sure because I'm not on that Discord server, but I think it went down well. So yeah, exciting week, I think. Again, I was like, what am I going to talk about this time? And I realized, oh yeah, there's so much to actually go over that I hadn't thought of until right now. Like I always say, I am never bored. So, but that's stand for what it's, for whatever it can. So I've got Quiet to get to now, another source of non-boredom. So please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. Subscribe to us already, and on that note, until next time, farewell.